Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV 2021, and we get the ball rolling. Of course, 2020 was a difficult year, but 2021, at least as we now have to call it, is looking to build on some of the positives. As bad as 2020 was, we are looking to build and talk about some of the positives in 2021. We'll talk about the clubs, we'll talk about the history of clubs, we'll talk about players, we'll talk about profiles, and we'll talk about all the activities that clubs are busy with at the moment, where they are engaging with their players, engaging with their members, and coming up with new and creative ideas. I'm JP Nodia, I'm your host of Cape Rugby TV, and of course I'd like to say a big thanks to our partners on board with us here at Cape Rugby TV. MChem 24-hour pharmacy down on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. Score energy drinks. Of course, as you know, Score is on board with Western Province Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, and you can win yourself a case of Score and as well as a case of Bashu's cool drink. So stick around for these competitions. It's going to be absolutely great opportunity. And of course, Thorburn Security Solutions, also on board with Cape Rugby TV. So folks, we've got a nice full show for you this evening. We're going to be catching up a little bit later with Jerome Bardvarter for Western Province Rugby. We'll catch up with Labib Levy, Western Province Rugby as well. Of course, we know that the Currie Cup side is busy getting ready to play in the semi-finals, and hopefully we'll end up having a home final at Newlands if everything goes according to plan. We'll catch up with Phil Cronje from Hamilton's, Jonathan Aval from False Bay, but joining me on the line now from Titans Rugby Football Club, and to get the ball rolling, Gino Topley. Gino, fantastic to have you on the line. How are things there with you, Meneer? Welcome back.
Hey JP, happy New Year's to all the viewers though. Festive season I was at work, had the public holidays off, so I was just resting in that time, and then back at work. But we're safe. I'm safe, I'm alive as you can see, but good to be back.
You look fantastic in your Titans Rugby Football Club, and if I look clearly there, it says established in 1946.
1946, that was tramways first, and then I think in the year 2000, guys will probably correct me, but I think the year 2000 that's when we changed the name over to Titans, new management, new players, the whole works.
So Titans used to be called Tramways, and did they just change the name, or did they merge?
No, they didn't merge. It was basically a change of management, and then moving of the home ground as well. I think it was in Deep River. Tramways, I think it was the bus company at the time.
Right.
And then we changed over in the year 2000, new premises, the new look, everything.
Well, we're looking very forward to talking about club history in 2021, and so you're going to have to go back and get all your notes and your old photographs and pictures and storytelling ready, because we're definitely going to be looking at club history. Fascinating there, just even that small little bit of information that you gave us about the fact that it was called Tramways back in 1946 just starts a whole conversation, and that's going to be very exciting for us to chat with you guys about in 2021. But Gino, you were very involved last year, 2020. You were involved not only with several outreach projects, but also in the media marketing side of things. There seems to be a lot of clubs already, I'm picking it up through the grapevine, that a lot of people are looking forward already, even in the absence of fixtures, even knowing that we might, we're not talking games right now, but a lot of clubs are busy getting involved in organizing and planning their structures.
No, that's true. Starting off with the media marketing systems that we have now in place, and not yet finished. There's still a lot of work to do, and implementation regarding putting it into the clubs, making it work. Not well with the actual fitness, the mentality that had to shift to what we needed to do, and that is our outreach projects. It is our marketing systems. It's keeping the players happy, the mentality of them, and just
staying connected.
That was like the main focus throughout the 2020 season. Well, not season, the year. And I can say now regarding players, management, and everybody is looking forward to the 2021. Players are hungry. Everybody is hungry to do what they need to do. But like I've always been saying, this is where the discipline kicks in. We just need to be patient.
They have to be patient, yeah. What are the kind of things that you're starting to look at for 2021? Because as I say, through the grapevine, we're hearing about clubs doing things like websites. Some clubs are busy with happy birthday messages to their players. Other clubs are busy digitizing old photographs. I mean, everybody's a lot of people think club rugby is quiet, but everybody's busy.
No. Yeah, it is. And I was actually having a thought over the weekend now is that in my community, not in the where Grassy Park is, where I stay, is that it's just a thought of like rugby's been so busy. And I can speak in the areas like Rocklands, like Collegians. I can see them doing their little things. And then with every other sports association has really been quiet. And then I would always just like take my hat off and applaud the rugby community for doing what they are doing. And then coming back to the whole planning thing is that, yes, we are busy doing the social networking things, the websites and all of that, but that we had up like since 2020, 2019. And then what we're busy looking at now is the marketing ideas of, the recruitment, yes, we're not certain of when we're going to be starting, but we still need to look at these things. And then we, funny enough, that we started making little business cards to help along with actual recruitment, with for our coaching staff, for the management, with us T-shirts we're trying to look at for the marketing sense as well. And then with the planning for our little outreach projects and all of those things, yeah, it's all going to be coming into play. And we're looking at 2021 to actually do all of this.
Now, the other thing that I believe that you've also got starting is a small business development project.
Yes, what we also, it's really in discussion right now, but with this, again, COVID hit so many families, so many households and all of those little things when it comes to people being jobless, breadwinners and all of those little things. So in the time, I would say in the last 2 to 3 months, we've been looking into the guys, seeing what are they doing at home, what are they taking care of, and money-wise, trying to get it into their families. And then a few of them are starting their own businesses. Like, just for example, we have a guy that has his little spice shop now. And then we looked at ideas on how to actually get him out there. So we built him up a website. We built him up on social media. He opened up now a delivery service to get connected with his community and all of those. And then we have guys that have little printing setups and all of that. And we're looking to, encourage him to actually go out there and, get a better wide spread of their business so they can actually have a better income.
Absolutely fantastic. So you basically, if I summarize it correctly, you're talking about people who are involved at Titans Rugby Football Club. They're either a player or a member or a family member, and they've got a small business, and Titans Rugby Football Club is pushing the audience or the market and the awareness towards the business within their own structure.
That is correct, JP. That is what we're looking at. And then with that, I don't know. I would always say, we don't want anything out of it. You are a player. You are a family member of a player. So if it comes to time that maybe you can help us as a team out, by all means do so. But we're not there to collect at the end of the day. No. It's just to, we call ourselves family. So we are doing this for them.
Absolutely. I love that idea. I think it fits exactly where club sport is, the club first concept. Really great stuff. I think that's a fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next from Titans. But on a final note, Gino, I believe you've also got some exciting sponsorship news in 2021.
We're in discussion with those little things as well. Nothing set in stone. With the likes of BusyCorn and all of that, they've asked that, how can we, do a better deal here,
Okay.
And with what we've learned in the marketing sense with our program that we've been doing with you, and different angles we can actually approach, it actually helps either the sponsor as their business as well as the club to say, this is what more we can do. So basically, we're just looking to see what limit and what barriers we can break regarding sponsorship, and who else is out there to actually, help us out. At the end of the day, it's not just players, it's for our community. So, yeah.
Well, I do believe we've got your Titans Rugby Football jersey with busy corner somewhere behind me. I'm sure it will come up in a second or so. Yep, it's there somewhere. Well, we know that your sponsor's on TV because the jersey's on TV. Gino, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to say to you, we're looking forward to the conversations. Very exciting, all the stuff that you're doing at Titans. And, of course, we're looking forward to lots of sponsors jumping on board with Titans. We're looking forward to find out later in the year when we know it's healthy and safe and so on, to find out more about the Ironman Challenge. And we're looking forward to chatting to you again.
No, not a problem, JP. And I can just say again, thank you for everything. With this little programs and stuff, it really helps with the exposure. What we've been doing in the background, the clubs will, of course, see exactly where the time has been going into, because most of them are thinking there's excuses. But no, this is all preparation, and it's for every club to actually benefit from it. So thanks again for that. And we're looking forward to a rugby year. That is all I would want to say.
Everybody.
JP, thanks.
Of course, we wait for the announcements and we see what comes next. Okay, Gino, we leave it at that. We'll catch up again soon.
No problem, JP. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Gino. There we go, folks. Gino Topley, of course, at Titans Rugby Football Club. Loving it. Loving the fact that they are building their structures in 2021. They're looking at new sponsorship deals. They're looking at the Ironman Challenge to keep the club structures engaged. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And local business, people who are involved with the club, getting an opportunity to be involved and get business from the club. Fantastic stuff. Folks, these are the kind of stories we're going to be telling during 2021. And we'll be looking. And of course, we heard about tramways, 1946. As I say, these are the kind of stories we're looking to tell in 2021. So it will, of course, be great for you to join us every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. when we tell these stories. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll catch up with more of what's happening in Western Province Rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Nice to have you stay with us. Nearly lost my pen here. But, of course, Cape Rugby TV, and we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. And, you would have picked up by now, of course, that a lot of the clubs, in the absence of fixtures, in the absence of games last year, became very creative, very proactive in terms of what they were doing at the club to make sure that their membership structures stayed in place, to keep the smiles on the members' faces even under difficult conditions. And someone who joined us on a regular basis last week, head coach of Hamilton's Rugby Football Club, Phil Cronje. Phil, great to have you back. I trust you are well and safe on your side.
Thanks, JP. It feels like I'm part of the show now, the amount of times that I'm getting on here. Happy New Year to you, and all the best for you, the year that's coming up. Although we don't know what's going to happen, but Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Of course, we all wish that we could be saying Happy New Year under different conditions, and I'm sure that the festive season out there has been difficult for everybody. But we tackle it one day at a time, or one step at a time, I suppose. But let's talk a little bit about 2020 quickly. 2020 was certainly a year that was completely different. It was a year that nobody expected in the normal format. But you guys really looked at things differently in 2020 and embraced quite a few new ideas.
Yeah, JP, I would probably say 2020 was probably one of the longest pre-seasons ever, because we started planning a pre-season every time when we were hoping that that rugby will come up. Yeah, we had to do different things just to make sure that the face of Hamilton's is still around, that it's still vigilant and people see what's happening, even though if we change our fields and even if we paint the clubhouse, we made sure that everybody knows about it. So, like, everybody have to know that things is happening around the club. We are ready to go. So there's different challenges that we had. But we tried to adapt to it, but it wasn't easy, I must be honest with you. But at least we had time to fix some of the stuff around the club, and obviously planning for if something happened.
Yeah. Of course, we keep waiting to see what the different announcements are, and we all hope for the best, I suppose. But looking at Facebook, on Facebook, we see there was something from your club that said get to know the coach. Obviously, somebody at your club is making sure that your social media is active.
Yeah, well, JP, because everybody's sitting at home these days, somehow we need to make sure that people knows what's happening. So yeah, I think from the club side, they start thinking about new ideas of still be active with the people around the club. And I think what they're doing now, what we're busy doing, is they started with the head coach by saying, let's know your coach. So I think what the plan for that is, we're going to get under 20s involved, introduce under 20 coach. We're going to get some members in there. We're going to talk about the club and send it on all our platforms going around. So yeah, that's the thing. Like I said again, I think that's more about all the excitement that's happening of hoping that rugby will comes up. So yeah, I think it's just by show people that we're still alive and we all hoping that rugby will come up.
But that is interesting. I mean, these little things. I mean, if we look at and I don't have the entire post in front of me, but if we just look at the information that was shared by your social media administrators, you coached Unimil, you coached SK Warmers, you coached in Australia the Melbourne Unicorns, you coached the College Riffles in New Zealand, and you coached the Ravens in Canada. Now, like I say, I can only read half of the message. I don't know how many more teams there are there that you've coached, but this is the kind of information that I think is fascinating for club members and the public to read about and understand that Dr. Phil Cronje, the head coach of Hamilton's, has been all around the world. I mean, it's fantastic information to have.
Yeah, JP, two things on that. Obviously, those were the days when you could still travel and try to make a mark for yourself around the world. I don't think it's just me. I think if you go around, I think we're very blessed in South Africa of having decent coaches. I just don't think there's opportunities for everybody. So if you don't get opportunity around here, you will definitely look abroad to go see if there's something else. I've tried to do that, build something self up for me overseas. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for me that way. Like most of us, we're coming back, we're falling in love, we're getting married, we don't go back. But yeah, again, I think there's a lot more coaches out there that's done that trip.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it's good for people to understand, not just at Hamilton's or wherever, from other clubs, to understand that there is still proper coaching at club level.
Phil, from a player perspective, have you been in contact with the guys? Of course, it's been not just lockdown, but it's also been festive season. It's the time of year where people would have been slowing down a little bit, spending time more relaxing. Have you been in contact with the guys? Obviously, we know at the moment things are paused a bit.
JP, I'm not going to lie to you, it's tough because at the end of the day, we're not sure what's happening. It will be difficult. So, a lot of these players have their own personal work commitments that they've got. It will be tough to train with guys if you don't have a set date of when you start. Let's say, for instance, everybody decide we start end of May. You know, you can't have a pre-season with these guys for 3-4 months and not making any contact or playing games, because what do you do with them? You can only go that far.
Yeah. But you're talking to each other. I mean, you're WhatsApping and you're sending emails and saying hello.
We're definitely talking on groups to each other. You know, a new fitness program was sent out November.
Very difficult to keep everybody motivated at the moment under these terrible conditions that we're in. So yeah, it is unfortunately one of those things that we have to work a little bit harder at all the time to keep folks smiling. Phil, we're going to leave it at that. Obviously, the important thing for us has been that we were able to connect with you and see that you're safe and healthy and things are going well at the club. And we see your Facebook social media streams are active. So we're looking forward to to finding out seeing the next profile, whether it be, like you say, an ExCo member or a player or a fan, whoever. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm glad that people's following that. I think that's a good thing. Again, it's coming down to people need to understand where club's coming from. I'm talking about history-wise. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show again. And JP will catch soon. And hopefully next time we will talk about the first fixture or the first friendly that's coming up.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thanks, Phil. We'll chat again soon, and best regards to everybody that side. Stay safe.
Thanks, JP. Stay safe as well.
There we go, folks. Phil Cronje, head coach at Hamilton's. Great chatting with Phil, as always. Of course, joined us on a regular basis last year. Folks, now remember, if you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, we are tripling it up at the moment, all right? You can win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, a whole case of Score. That's 24 Score energy drinks. But I'm going to add into that also a case of Bashu's cool drinks. All right, so now you've got a case of Score energy drinks and a case of Bashu's, and add on to that, courtesy of CTC Sports, you can win yourself a set of 24 masks, courtesy of CTC Sports. Cape Rugby TV masks, that is. So it's a set of Bashu's, a case of Score energy drinks, and of course a set of 24 masks. So 24 plus 24 plus 24 prizes up for grabs here. All you need to do is SMS the word SCORE, as you can see on the can here. Just SMS the word SCORE to 33090. SMS the word SCORE. You can see it on my shirt over here. SCORE energy drinks. SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Put yourself in the mix to win that triple hamper. And congratulations then to last week's winner, Wendy Cornelius. Wendy, you walk away with a triple hamper of Score energy drinks, Bashu's, and of course the Cape Rugby TV masks, courtesy of CTC Sports. Somebody from Cape Rugby TV is going to be in touch with you shortly. Folks, don't go away. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Back in a sec. Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV. We carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby and of course Western Province Rugby. Every week we look to see what's happening out there, and we look to keep you connected. It's 2021 now, and we're looking forward to building on the positives from 2020 into this year, into 2021, even though times are difficult, or we don't always know exactly what is coming up next, but we wait and see what the various announcements are. But joining me on the line now, and he was of course on the show with us plenty last year, Labib Levy. Labib, great to have you back on the line, Meneer. Are you healthy? Are you well? Are you safe?
No, I'm actually very healthy. I've started some New Year resolutions by putting some form of training regime into my program.
Labib, it's fantastic. Yeah, of course we were thrilled to have you last year on so many times that you managed to join us remotely, and I can just say that we're very grateful for the fact that you took the time out to share with us and to tell us and keep us connected, and the fans out there and the players that watch the show on a regular basis, and we're obviously grateful for that. Looking at 2020, we know that it was a terrible year, but there were also a lot of positives in 2020, Labib. Some of the things that jump out for you from last year that really for you was a strong point.
Yeah, I think obviously playing Super Rugby, playing the New Zealand and Australian teams was quite a highlight. We could see where we were. We started very well. We had a couple of knocks in the end, so that was quite a highlight. But obviously, COVID kicked in quite early in the year, and I think the highlight there was that coaches like ourselves, all professional coaches and even amateur coaches, had to find ways to invent themselves or reinvent themselves. And I think learning took place, and it was interesting because you could have a professional coach sitting in Europe, being on the same webinar like an amateur coach sitting out in Mitchell's Plain, and the information they're getting is the same. So I think empowerment, upliftment, finding new ways of learning, I think that's a major positive. And I mean, people were building networks all over Cape Town, all over the country, and all over the world. So everyone found new ways to assimilate learning, which is what the sport is about. You don't always have the time or the luxury of doing research and finding new methods of coaching as well as technical information.
2021 was 2020. I've got to get used to the words every time now. Yeah. It's like back in the day when you wrote your first date, you always got the date wrong on the first. So if we go back to 2020, of course, it was a very disruptive year for the Stormers, a disruptive year for the Currie Cup team. Things were very difficult in terms of finding momentum, having consistent practice sessions. I mean, it really was very challenging, but eventually you guys started getting back on track. You started getting a return to training and a return to play in place. Looking at 2020, of course, this year, the season was slightly different because it didn't end in, say, for example, November. You played right through. You guys, in fact, have been playing rugby over what we call the festive season.
Yeah, we had a match versus Griquas on Boxing Day. So Griquas, ironically, they had a captain on Christmas. We gave the guys off that day, so it wasn't quite normal. And then we played Cheetahs tweede nuwe jaar. So I'll normally be involved here in Bull Cup watching a bit of Klopse, but I was involved in a rugby game in Bloemfontein, so it is quite abnormal. But it's how you adapt to it, and then everyone embraced it because rather do that than playing no rugby. So the fact that you're playing rugby was a positive, irrespective of time of the year. Obviously, from a coaching and player perspective, you're sitting with different conditions because obviously the heat during December, January, February especially is quite different. So part of the way you train, when you train, how you prepare for the matches are also key. So you'll find that in certain matches, there were like 20-minute water breaks, etc., which isn't normal in a full-on league setup. They normally have water breaks in warm-up games and friendlies, which is played this time of the year. So coaches, players, management all had to adapt. What's also obviously quite different is playing for the birds, so you're not actually playing for crowds, and that also takes some time. But the guys adapted quite well. But I mean, running out to a stadium and there's no supporters. Some stadiums actually had dummy crowd sound, so when you score a try, it goes, yeah, and you hear the sound, and when you look around.
So the broadcast, the stadium events management actually had the speakers going with crowd noises and so on, just to add a bit of chaos.
But very loud, and you actually feel like you're in a crowd.
Labib, of course, now that we've worked out that the crowd effects are there in the stadium, which clearly makes it really does go to show that the world is changing. The world of sport broadcasting is changing. The way of playing matches is changing. It's a whole different dynamic. Do you think that from a sport perspective, people are going to get used to this?
Well, they're forced to. At this point, they're forced to, because of the whole pandemic, etc. But at least they're getting it on TV. Example, the Bulls, they would have like dummy pictures of people, so people can send in a picture. And ironically, one of our players, we were at Loftus, and then his father's picture was actually on Loftus,
on the screen.
No, not on the screen, in the stand. So they actually take a cardboard picture of JP and put it there, of fans. So they've been creative there. There's also been ways which technologically where you can superimpose dummy crowds. So but that hasn't actually taken off as such from a TV perspective. But there has been technology people doing that type of presentation. So definitely it's changing the world of sport and obviously the world the way we know it, and we all just have to adapt.
From a rugby perspective, back home now, DHL Western Province, you guys have made it into the semi-finals of the Carling Currie Cup. You must be very happy with that.
Yes, we are quite happy about that because we are playing home for most teams. Even though with no crowd, you have a slight advantage because of just a familiarity. You can train more on the field. The players are used to the environment. We were meant to play a match last week versus the Sharks just for log position. So if they had won, they would have gone second, we would have gone third. If we had won, obviously we would have remained second, but the game was considered a draw. So the log position remained the same, and we were second, they were third. That's why we're playing home at Newlands. It's potentially the last game at Newlands because the semi-final and the Bulls are top of the log and they're playing the Lions. We hope to a degree that the Bulls lose to the Lions, and we also want to beat the Sharks, and then we can possibly get another game at Newlands. So we'll see how that goes.
So your next big match is, of course, the semi-finals at Newlands, and then if the cards fall where we hope for them to fall, we might see a finals at Newlands.
Yeah, there is still that outside possibility. Obviously, the Lions have to be at their best. They lost last week against the Bulls, but hopefully that can give them more motivation, not to rest on the laurels and play out of the skin to beat the Bulls. But we still have to go do the job against the Sharks. We can't even focus on that other game at this point. Our main aim is focusing on the Sharks and preparing for them. The advantage also was that we had prepared for them last week. So it's not like you have to go do new research. So we can basically use last week's training and just tweak it and add on, and players can get more familiar with it.
Well, we're looking forward to that, Labib. Great to have you back on the line. We're looking forward to catching up with you again. And if we don't speak to you before the semi-finals, then, of course, to you and the rest of the squad, and I'm sure we'll still speak to some of the guys on the team, maybe Dobbo and the guys, we say to you guys, obviously, first, stay safe. And then, secondly, we say good luck.
Thanks, appreciate the support, and we'll go all out to make sure we get a good result next week.
Fantastic. Thanks, Labib. There we go, folks. Labib Levy, of course, skills coach at the DHL Stormers and DHL Western Province Rugby. And, of course, Western Province Rugby have now made it into the semi-finals. And as he said, we still might, if everything goes in the right direction, we might see 2 more matches at Newlands, including a home finals. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Cape Rugby TV. Well, we are back. As you can see, clubs talking to us, clubs telling us what's happening, talking about all their different activities. And he's a regular on Cape Rugby TV. Now into the next year. We're now, in fact, I haven't even thought about it, but in fact, we are now going into our 11th year of Cape Rugby TV. Jonathan van der Walt, Jonathan, nice to have you back.
Hey, JP, how's it going, man? Lucky to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Jono. It's I suppose if you ask me how's it going, the important thing is we're looking after the health and safety side of things, one step at a time. But I suppose we can acknowledge that things are difficult at the moment for everybody. But it's great to see you. You look like you're in good spirits on the other side.
Yeah, JP, we can't complain. You know, like we say to the guys, at least we have our health at this stage, and like all things, we have work that we get to come to, because after all, you know, it is amateur and club sport, and we do all work for a living, and we love to play rugby after hours. So now it's time to knuckle down a bit and get some work done. And you know, what 2020 taught a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and employees and people that work, that it's extremely tough out there, and we have to be grateful for obviously the work that we have. And so at the moment we're just trying to keep safe, trying to do all of the normal things: social distancing, sanitizing our hands, wearing masks where we can, just being safe in general, but at the same time also getting out, So even though the beaches are closed, you can still walk in the road and the street, you can still run, you've got tackies in it. You can get out and move and get into the sun. So you don't have to be all doom and gloom. We call them Debbie Downers, negative Nancy's. You don't have to be all down and in a house and stuck there, that type of thing. And also, if we do get sick, we must be strong enough to fight it. So that's maybe the thought process behind it, that we're not just going to sit down and take it. We're going to get up and make sure that we fit and still challenge and hold each other accountable, which I think is great.
Let's go back to 2020. A year we've spoken to a few guys on the club side, and certainly 2020 was a year that was unpredictable. Everything was different. But from a Bay point of view, from a Fast Bay point of view, you guys were thinking out the box. You came up with new ideas to keep the players connected. You yourself were quite involved with at a provincial level. If you look back at 2020, just some of the positives, I mean, some of the maybe even new dynamics of what you're going to look at carrying from 2020 into 2021. What is it? Is it social media? Is it more Zoom calls? Is it more more gees?
Yeah, I think 2020 had its challenges. I think it was all fun and jokes in March when we, at our homes for 35 days in lockdown and doing challenges, and that was great. And then after 4 or 5 weeks, we had to kind of move on, and then the whole Zoom call kind of thing came and went, and it was Teams, and it was whatever way we could meet and kind of communicate, and then we've had to evolve and change over time. And as we couldn't be on field, and as we couldn't literally be on beaches or be anywhere, we've just been confined. But then obviously the gyms are open, but there's a certain amount of people. So yeah, so it's been tough. It's been challenging. It hasn't been easy. We've also got a lot of players lost their jobs. A lot of players lost loved ones. A lot of players maybe struggled and they got sick themselves as well. So some live with maybe elderly folks and grandparents and all the rest. So 2020 is super challenging. 2021 at the start is no different. And, the only thing, we're maybe just a bit more experienced and we're a bit more kind of streetwise, so we can learn from that. So one thing we've said is kind of take everything that we've learned in 2020 and apply it to 2021. And yeah, there's talk about postponement of club rugby, but it's not just club rugby, it's all sports. So it's not like rugby is just affected. It is all sport, which we know at school and at club, and everybody's in the same boat, and people can't go to the beaches and the surfers are up in arms and all the rest. So it's affecting everybody. And it is very easy to be negative, to be honest, and it's very tough to maybe try to commit to something that you don't know if it's going to happen in this year. And when you maybe a bit older and it kind of comes with experience, you can be fine. But when you're maybe a youngster and you're 18 to 21 and you're thinking, I finished school or I'm at school and I need to do stuff, I need to study and kind of make something of my life, it's very challenging times at the moment.
Very difficult. But False Bay has always had the ability to rise above challenges. I mean, you guys have always been able to use the spirit of the players, the fans, the members. You've been able to tap into those things and, like I say, rise above it.
Yes, JP, and again, it is not easy. So, and it's very easy for other people, again, to look and pass comment, to do whatever they do. At the moment, one thing we've learned in lockdown, it's survival of the fittest. Or it's almost like every man for himself type of thing. But as a club, we've actually grown quite strong, even though we haven't even had rugby, which is quite interesting. But we did say that we're a rugby club. And what is a club? A club is a community of people that come together, that are like-minded. So in times when it's tough, this is when we must stick together and we must try and prepare. And if rugby happens in a year or 2 years' time, it doesn't matter when it happens, but we will move, we will be fit and make sure that when there is a rugby match, that False Bay is, if not the fittest team, but one of the fittest teams in the league.
You mentioned it actually in that sense of it is survival of the fittest. But if I look at the wording or the phrase survival of the fittest in a slightly different context, is it a question for coaches, for clubs, for sports structures out there, even corporates, business, to say those that can adjust and adapt the quickest to these new circumstances are the ones that are going to survive? You have to adjust. You've got to think differently.
I agree 100% with you there, JP. You cannot have the same thinking that you had a year or two ago. And that goes for business, for rugby, for anything and everything in your life right now. You've got to be adapt. You've got to think you must think outside of the box. And if you've got a nice group of coaches, challenge each other. Ask guys to come up with new things. Maybe put the ball in the players' court and say, "Come on, guys, what do you guys want to do that's going to stimulate you? That's going to keep you excited. That's maybe going to, maybe we're going to have maybe one run a week, and it's going to be 1 hour, and it's going to be small groups of 4 or 5. We're going to run with our masks on. Why can't we do that? It's legal. It's not illegal. We can get together. Make that a challenge to your other fellow players who are also going through tough times at this point. So that's the kind of out-the-box thinking that I think that guys need to do a bit more.
And one of the things that I've noticed that False Bay does from a social media point of view is that you talk about off-field content. You don't always talk about the actual rugby content, the playing of the ball and the tackling and the how to hit in the scrum. You share pictures of your players getting married. You share pictures of the happiness that your clubs or members are busy with off the field.
Yes, JP, again, if someone's getting married, someone's had a kid, someone's celebrating a wedding anniversary or something like that, it's important because that person feels part of the club, or not feels part of the club, they are part of the club, but they've got a closer sense of feeling. So, and again, without there being much rugby and much content, again, the guys have got their work cut out just in terms of what we can bring to our members, which is what it's all about.
And you've kind of also just led me into my next question. The world of sponsorship is not something in the picture that we're getting that is a cold world. They want to see sponsors who get involved at the club level. They want to see relationships. They want to see engagements and interaction. Is that something that you guys have taken note of, that you say, well, let's build on this interaction, this connection with our members and players, because it also works for our sponsors?
Exactly, JP. And again, you'd be surprised that how well, even though some companies are struggling, there of course are companies that are doing well, and sponsors see clubs. And again, it just depends on how you portray your club and whatever your kind of committee and exco are doing for that particular club. But I can only speak of False Bay in particular. And companies want to be a part of False Bay because of our family culture, because of our hard work ethic and the things that we want to do. In these times when it's tough, companies want to support us, but at the same time, there must also be something for the company. And I know that you deal with that in your realm of marketing and so on and so forth. So that is another step where False Bay is trying to be better off of the field than obviously on the field, because we can't be on the field at this point in time.
Absolutely. John, we'll leave it at that. We're fantastic chatting with you. I can see that you're still at work. I'm hoping that you get to take a break somewhere along the line. But we're looking forward. We're looking forward to 2021. As much as we know that there's lots of negatives and things, we're looking forward to 2021 because we can talk more to you guys. We can find out about your history, your players, your leaders, your weddings and everything else that you've got at the club. So we're happy to have you back, and we're looking forward to 2021.
Thanks, JP. Our guys are super excited. We're keen. It's almost like there is something to look forward to, even though it might be in the distant future, but it's a carrot nonetheless. And our guys are just going to stay keen and motivated, and it's up to coaches and players in the club alike to make sure that their members and their club are still there, still together, keeping that club moving.
Fantastic. Jono, we'll leave it at that and we'll catch up soon. Thanks, Jono. Jonathan Afalt there, folks. Of course, looking forward to catching up with Jono on a regular basis and finding out what False Bay is up to. Always looking on the positive side. Folks, talking about looking on the positive side, as you know, on a weekly basis, we take a look at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy's public reviews, the reviews that you have made about MChem Pharmacy. These reviews come in off Facebook and they come in off Google, and every week we take a look at one of the special reviews. Now, this week's review comes from Antoinette Visser-Swart, and she gives MChem a star rating. She gives a recommendation there of the MChem 24/7 pharmacy. And she says, baie dankie vir al MChem se personeel se geduld en vriendelikheid oor die afgelope lockdown tyd. Julle is voorware wenspan. God bless you. That message, of course, coming in there from Antoinette Visser-Swart, who gives a thumbs up clearly for MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. Folks, as you know, every staff member at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is, of course, geared to help you with your pharmaceutical requirements. From the minute that you park to the minute that you leave, the MChem staff are there to help you with whatever you need, whenever you need it. And that's, of course, the MChem promise, or as Mr. Malach at MChem says, the MChem gold standard. MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is always open, and they're, of course, always there to help you 24 hours a day, every day. Folks, we're going to take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Don't go away. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. It's 2021, and of course, as you know, we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. It's fantastic to have been talking to, of course, our administrators from the various clubs, and we keep taking a look at what's happening at Western Province. And to tell me more about what's happening at Province, on the line with me now, Jerome Bardvarter. Jerome, first time back for you. Welcome back.
Yeah, JP, first time back, and happy New Year to all the viewers and all the Cape TV viewers and everybody, all the club people, everybody that's involved with rugby in Cape Town and just the public in general. Happy New Year. And I know it's tough times, and it seems like things are still not getting better, but yeah, we survived, JP, and it's looking forward to the new year.
Yeah, well, you just said it. I mean, you just said it, Jerome. It is all about looking forward to the new year. 2021 is here now. Before I talk to you about 2021, I mean, I'm sure you guys have got plans up all over the show, especially considering what you managed to do in 2020. So let's talk about that for a second. If you think of, because obviously what we're looking at here is a consideration that you're probably going to be looking at building on the things that you did in 2020 and taking it forward into 2021. Looking back at 2020, and I know that we closed the year off last year, what for you were the highlights? I mean, we know how tough it was out there, how tough it is out there with COVID, but what jumps out for you as some of the highlights from 2020 that you want to bring into 2021?
JP, if I start with the rugby, we were just blessed to play last year. We were just blessed to play that sort of professional sport could have gone on, and there was some rugby, and that the Currie Cup could go on, we as the under-21s could play. So we were fortunate in regarding that. And then last year, a lot of positive from the coaching side, from whether it's level 1 or whatever coaching, or the 2.5 that we've done. I think we've done a lot of work last year. We couldn't see each other, but we had to figure out on Skype or Zoom or team meetings, and we actually upskill ourselves in terms of that, and also a lot of people upskill themselves in terms of that. And we did a lot of courses during the year, and we could speak to a lot of people in the comfort of their homes, and we actually had a successful year last year.
So if you look at some of the things that you did last year, I mean, you did the Rugby 2.5 course, which is the bridge course between your World Rugby Level 2 and Level 3. You also did, you had a number of the players coming through the club structures, getting ready for the SA Cup. So you had a lot of players at the HPC. You did quite a lot of testing as well when you were eventually allowed to. How many of those things, if we're looking at the rugby courses, and we're looking at those players coming through the ranks now, how much of that will you again be doing in this year?
Yeah, JP. So that's why I say it. In a sense, for us at Western Province, it was good because we could identify coaches through that, doing their homework and doing whatever we asked them to do. With the players, last year we started off, we actually played a lot of rugby with the club players. We played about 6 or 7 warm-up games before the COVID hit us. So and we could use that same players November, December last year when we started as a group to come and join us, because that work has been done. So we know more or less the players, though there's a few new faces joining, which coaches sent us, which is good. But so that was good. So we were going to go on now with the same sort of program because we've done the work last year. But unfortunately, we still have to wait a little bit longer now to see what's going to happen.
Jerome, then just looking at the players from a testing point of view, last year you did quite a lot of testing at Western Province. Those players that then came for testing last year and managed to come to high performance, do you now keep a record of their test results and then look again in terms of progress, or does 2021 start again with new testing?
No, we won't start with new testing, JP. What we send all the test results to the clubs, unless there were excuses from guys, whether they were busy with exams and they couldn't make the testing. Hopefully, if we get a go-ahead, we'll test that guys. But the guys who tested well, we'll surely invite that guys to come and join the group and retest them again. And just give them programs to follow, which we sent the guys programs out now, the SA Cup guys and the Under-21 guys now for this week. We were supposed to start, but we send them the programs which they must follow so long. So but we just wait. Hopefully by next week we'll know, and then we'll continue again with the rugby.
Maybe a question which is maybe might sound strange, but if we look at all the other technical stuff that you guys did online, there was a lot of work on the laws and the rules rules and refereeing and so on that you guys did from an online. Are the games, are the rules of the game, does it stay the same? Is there anything new that is coming on the cards going forward, or are the laws the same?
JP, the laws are still the same. There's not new laws out yet. I also think if I look at the rugby now, before they change to new laws, they must first players and referees and everybody must first understand the old laws before I think we can move to the new laws.
Jerome, it's been great chatting with you. Of course, 2021 is a new year. We're looking forward to, like you said, bring those positives from 2020 into 2021. And of course, we know the club rugby needs to stay connected. And so it's great to be chatting to you all the time. From your perspective, Jerome, is there perhaps any shout outs, any messages that you want to give to the players or the fans that are watching right now?
Yeah, JP, just to those people that lost loved ones during last year and also the beginning of this year. It is tough times, and I think it really affects you if you have close friends, family members that pass on, that you know, then you really know we're in for a serious time. I'm also want to just condolences to the Croy family. Bala Croy, William passed away, and also the early hours of this morning, his brother Kuni Croy passed away. So it's tough times. A few of my players, fathers passed away, people that we know passed away, loved ones passed away. So yeah, I think people must just adhere to and follow the rules, what the president was saying or what everybody is saying. It's unnecessary for people that the law enforcement must come in and tell them they mustn't drink or they must wear their mask. So yeah, I think people must just be cautious and just do what is necessary.
Follow all the protocols.
Exactly.
Jerome, we'll leave it at that there, and we of course pass our condolences to you, the family, and the Croy family, and we're thinking of you.
Thanks, JP.
There we go, folks. Jerome Bardvarter, Western Province Rugby, and there you heard it firsthand. Please, you need to follow all of the health and safety protocols out there. And of course, our condolences go out to anyone that's lost a loved one, and to the Croy family. And folks, as Jerome said, please remember, follow all of the health and safety protocols. And those, of course, include social distancing, washing your hands, and of course always wearing a mask. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.